Hello, Instagram. We are live. Welcome to Pathway to Purpose. And if you haven't come across Pathway to Purpose before, Pathway to Purpose is where, I can barely say it there, is where I have conversations with inspiring people who are fully living into their purpose. And I'm really excited to get into it today because I have an amazing guest coming. And I'm just going to give it a few minutes to see if anybody is joining us live. I know the Wi-Fi here can be a bit hit and miss. But I'm loving this room. Can I have it more with the actual whole of the love sign in the background? Okay, hey Emma. I was just literally about to say, oh my goodness. I was literally just going to give it a second because I know sometimes there can be a slight little delay when the other person is joining. Hi. Oh my goodness, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you? I'm hiding out in my base.
Oh my
away from my kids.
I love it.
It's 7 p.m. here, so let's just see how it goes. I'm praying they don't barge in, but all good.
I'm so appreciative for you joining me live, and I know the timing isn't ideal for you, but time zones around the world.
Perfect. It's perfect. I get to escape. And I can deal with the madness up there.
Love it.
It's lovely to see you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to speak to you.
I'm thrilled to speak to you because I came across you about a year ago when I was listening to Jacqueline Shaw's podcast, and I was so intrigued by you. I went down the rabbit hole of listening to all of your lives. I'm sure I was one of those people that was like clicking on all the likes on all your lives, and I was actually in Chicago at the time. And I was like saying to my sister, I was like, who is she? And actually this morning, my sister messaged me then like, oh my God, you're having a live with her? She was literally like, that's insane. Because she was on the rabbit hole with me. She was like, that's insane. So
for anybody, God, I love that. That makes me feel a little embarrassed, but okay, I will take it. And I'm glad.
Honestly, I was like a woman possessed. I was like, who is she? I was on the Peloton, like watching all your lives, like going, oh my God, this one's amazing. I need to work with her. When am I going to work with her? So it worked out so fabulously.
I love that. I love that.
So for anybody who doesn't know, Emma is an modern Irish mystic and psychic medium. She's amazing at what she does. And like I said, I came across you about a year ago and I just loved your energy, loved your gifts. And I was lucky enough to have a session with you back in January, which is absolutely amazing. Before we get into your full pathway to purpose, the question I like to start off asking everyone is, what does purpose mean to you? Because it can mean so many different things to different people. So what does it mean to you, Emma? I'd love to hear.
I think, okay, I'll start off with what does it mean to me? Purpose isn't something to me that it's something that I'm doing. It's what I'm being. It's who I'm being. And I think that for me is a fundamental shift, as well of teaching that to people, because I think we're in, this, you can get stuck in an endless cycle of self-betterment and personal development and how can I be better and get on the path and read the next book. And it's all amazing and it's all part of the journey. But unless we're getting quiet enough to listen to the voice within our own heart and really start to tune in to what it is we're being called to be, to bring forth, to embody, to hold, you can't get off that treadmill of trying to get somewhere, because truly there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go because we're just dealing with ourselves. We just go somewhere and then we meet ourselves, go across the world, wherever, you're just going to meet yourself. So that's what it means to me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And I could go on, but
no, I love everything. I love everything you said, because the point that you bring up there, you can move across the world. And I have lots of people that come to me, particularly in the area of love and dating, and they're like, I moved city or I moved whatever, and I still can't find any good men. And it's like, it's not about that. It's so not about that. It's coming back to your center. Like the only like longest relationship we have is the one with ourselves, and it all is about going within. So I love everything that you said, and I'd love to hear more about how you got to this place, this point to where you are now of living fully into that place, like fully embodying who you are in your truth.
I mean, it's definitely a process, it's an unfolding. And I think the miracle of all of it is that within that decision to be more of myself, my purpose found me. You
Mm,
know, it's like that. It's completely inverted. Marketing and, you know, out there in the world, and in the world of marketing, they will constantly push that it's out there. But I want to just tell everyone who's listening to this, it is not out there, it's in here. And that's how you meet your purpose. So, um, I've been in this personal development space for 11 years, which is, oh my gosh, it feels that even blows my mind when I say this, because it's changed so much, the coaching space and personal development in 11 years. Um, and through building my business, um, it kept inviting me to peel back another layer, another layer, another layer. And it made me smile when you brought up the live streams, because I remember when I started my business, it was just like live streams just felt like such an epic, just felt like Everest, you know. I knew that that visibility piece, I taught visibility for a really long time. And, you know, that was just one of the little stepping stones, one of the nuggets, but it helped me get out there. It helped me be seen and heard, not just, you know, seen. Like in Ireland growing up, my granny used to say, lady's always seen before she's heard. And it used to grind my gears. It used to really grind my gears. It used to make me want to like scream when she'd say it. So all of that cultural conditioning, and obviously you being Irish, this was a huge part of why I wanted to speak to you as well, because it's, I don't know, unless you're Irish, it's hard to kind of really get what I mean about that, like the full impact of what it was like growing up in Ireland and having, you know, like she's got notions. Like I had notions from the age of 3, you know, and I had to move halfway across the world, you know. And like I said, it wasn't, not to kind of contradict myself, but in order to get closer to myself, I had to take myself of, I had to take myself out of Ireland. But fundamentally, it's all starting to come back around, obviously, with my retreat. You know, it's like the first time I'm teaching at home, the first time in 18 years. I left Ireland in 2006. So it's a real homecoming. It's a real interesting experience, because I wouldn't be doing what I am doing today if I was still in Ireland. Because, I mean, yeah, that's like, we could go down there, that we can go down that route. But I'm curious to hear what sparks you with what I just shared there. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I love everything you said there, because it's funny. I've been thinking about this contradiction as well. This kind of like it all like I'm like it's all within, and I know some people are probably wondering, well, you're in Bali now, and it's like I didn't. It's like life brought me to Bali. Like life brought me to Australia, then brought me to Bali, and it wasn't something that was well thought out within me. I believe that when we're following the breadcrumbs of what life is giving us,
Yeah.
we're, as you said, it's peeling back those layers.
Yeah.
But as you said, the notions, or it's almost like the smallness, as you're saying it, it's like I want to go like this. I want to shrink. I want to shrink. I want
Yeah.
to shrink. I want to shrink straight away. And it's like when I shrink, I close off my shoulders. I close off my heart space. I'm really, really shutting myself down. And it's really this whole journey of tapping into my purpose has been like taking up space. And you have been somebody that has massively, whether you realize it or not, I know we only had that one session so far. Um, but I also took your course, the live, your 30-day go live. thing, and that was for me. I think I'd done about two lives before in my life, and I hated them. Like when other coaches told me go on lives, and I was just like, no. I was like, I don't like them. I don't like speaking. And then I took your course, and it was like something just switched within me. I made this like dedication to myself. I'm going to show up and I'm going to speak on lives. And that for me, like completely changed the way I showed up on social media. Like it completely shifted the thing for me. I actually started to enjoy doing lives. I was like, who the hell am I? From somebody that was like, I want to throw up at the thought of doing lives, to be like, when can I go live again? And and it's not even
Yes.
in this, yeah, it's not even like, sometimes it's like it appears as an egotistical way, but it's like I want to share something. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to come true today, but I want to share something.
Yeah.
So I freaking love that, and I'm fully with you on like the whole Irish thing. But as you mentioned the Irish thing, and I was thinking about this morning, I know you have that one post pinned on Instagram that I freaking love, and it's something about like when I speak about God and Jesus or whoever it is, you're not speaking to religion. And this is something that I spoke to you about in my session with you, because I was like, I'm refraining from using the word God because so many people see it as religious. And when I got into spirituality, I didn't want to use the word God. I didn't want to use the word Jesus. Mary Magdalene, I was at a retreat at the weekend, and the woman that was running the retreat mentioned Mary Magdalene, and one of the women in the circle was like, oh, is that religious? So I'd love to hear, because I know some of your opinions on this, but I'd love you to go deeper on that topic, because I feel like us as Irish women, we well, I know I went against it, because it was like I was trying to rebel against like being made go to mass every Sunday, and like what the Catholic Church had taught us. So I'd love to hear some thoughts around that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I had to go to church every single Sunday till I was 17. Every single Sunday. So that's just for context. Like, I grew up in a very, very, very Catholic Ireland and upbringing. And it influenced me massively. Like, I spent the following 20 years trying to detox myself from all of the cultural conditioning that went with that. Basically, God fearing and the devil, and basically, you're a terrible person. You were born terrible, and you have to repent in order to get into heaven. And then I'd be so confused. I was like, but I thought God was meant to be love. So I don't understand. Like, I could not wrap my head around how I was being told by God I was a sinner, and then I was told that God was love. It just did not connect with me. And so kind of so detoxing myself from Catholicism put me down. I went on this odyssey. I moved to London in my early 20s, and then like I said, I left Ireland in 2006, and I've lived many, 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 many places. And in all of those places that I've lived, there's always been a spiritual practice secretly. So I used to see angels from the age of 4. So that was when it really started. I started to see angels and guides and passed over loved ones in spirit. And I've millions of stories. But putting that to the side, it was this deep down knowing that there's more to this. There's more than what they're telling me in church. And I've got these gifts, and other people can't see this. Okay. The burying happened from until I turned 30. And when I turned 30, I had a full crisis, like full Saturn returns, lost my job, lost my home, almost moved back to Ireland. And to cut a long story short, missed that move by a whisker because I met my husband online. And then we moved to Paris, and we started to live all over the place. So that whole journey, and meeting him, he was actually a Buddhist at the time, and I had been really interested in Buddhism, and I kind of thought, I'll try on the Buddhist cloak for a while. That kind of was like, it was an entryway. I went through that whole I was, I was a vegan, I was a Buddhist, I was a vegan living in Paris. When I think about that, it makes me smile. Um, and it wasn't until I began to fully step into these spiritual gifts with the help of my business, realizing that, oh, the thing that people want from me is the very thing that I'm keeping hidden about myself. And it was like, okay, so this is the thing. But of course, the thing that people most wanted from me was the source of my greatest wounding. It was where I was silenced. It was where I was terrified to speak up. It was culturally, uh, religiously, um, just there's a million different reasons of why growing up, why it just did not feel safe at all for me to embody those gifts. And it wasn't until my second son was born that, like, horrendous postnatal anxiety and depression, I got to a point now where it was like, if I don't do it now, I'm wounding myself. I'm wounding myself. And I knew that I knew that these spiritual teachers, I knew that Jesus, I knew that Mary Magdalene, I knew that, when I think of like John the Baptist or Krishna or Buddha or Maharaji or any of these truly awakened and enlightened beings, I knew that they could be accessed, and I knew that they were all doorways to this one God. Okay, I'm going to talk about the God thing because this is huge. Because
Love it.
people literally go pale when you say God at home, because they're like, oh, you're religious. Oh, she's really. That's what my sister said. She texted me the other day and she was like, oh, so and so mentioned to me. She just said God isn't Emma fierce religious these days. And Sarah was like, no, she's not. She's not religious at all. It's not. She's
I
teaching.
had that
And
a few days ago as well, or a few months ago as well. One of my best friends was like, no, 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 Cheryl's so religious. And I'm like, no, no, no.
no, it's not religion. I know, and it's and this isn't like knocking. I'm not knocking religion. I feel like there is religions, quote unquote, out there that I feel drawn to, like specifically very certain aspects of Christianity that really speak to me. These profound teachings on love. It's when I go back, when you really tap into these, what I want to say is pre-Christian teachings of Jesus, pre-Christian, the kind of Christianity that was being practiced before the codification of the Bible. There was so many offshoots of these core teachings that were taught. There was so many that what happened with the codification of the New Testament was like, the Constantine was like, right, we are going to take Christianity, create the Roman Catholic Church. We're going to codify this. So, because so many people, they couldn't suppress it anymore. But they decided this is what it's going to look like. And this is what the teachings are going to be. And there was orders sent out to destroy everything else. So all of the Gnostic stuff, this is why the Gospels of Thomas, the Gospels of Philip, the Gospels of Mary, all of this stuff that was seen as too out there, too Gnostic, too rooted in the Essenes, too rooted in the ascetics, all of these different types of different types of groups that were practicing the essential teachings of the Christ, they were completely quashed. They were literally buried, which brings us up beautifully to the Gospels of Mary Magdalene, because they were literally found in a jar in Egypt. So I kind of, in moments, I feel it's so symbolic as well when we think about these sacred words, the only words that were ever attributed to a woman at that time, that they were placed in a jar and buried in the desert. And I feel like it's so symbolic that it took 1,850 years for these to be found. They were found in the 1850s, and then they were literally resurrected as if they were waiting for us to find them. Because at the time, it was so dangerous for women to be, women had the same amount of rights as slaves. at that time. So, of course, I feel it's so, when I think about, Mary Magdalene being the witness to the resurrection, it's so significant. And I always find it interesting. There's not a whisper of her hardly on Easter Sunday, right? You never hear.
Oh no, no, no. Just the
No, we
whore. Why
never
would they
hear.
mention? Why would they mention the prostitute?
Why would they mention, right? Exactly.
Like how they
So
depicted her.
how they depicted her for years. Well, they didn't clear her name until
Yeah.
2016. So it was, so it took that amount of time before she was called a saint. Apart from, I have to give credit to the Eastern Orthodox tradition, who venerate and have always venerated Mary Magdalene.
Oh really?
It's
Wow.
like the original. The Orthodox is much more original and essential. It's probably the closest form of Christianity to the very, very early forms of it. So I couldn't ever call myself religious. Okay, when I'm speaking about God, I'm speaking about the one God, the God that we all are, the higher praise, the most high, what we cry out to when we're in our greatest happiness and in our deepest sorrows. We're all talking about the same thing. And we have these teachers who they're all providing entry points in all religions to the most high. So it's, how could it, it's like, I think religion has become so, religion has been, it's a big part of, I'm going to even feel that I get the energy of like, oh God, I'm going back to Ireland to teach this in 2 weeks. It feels so exciting, so terrifying at the same time, because I'm returning to the land that I left 18 years ago to bring back the truth of who she was. Because Mary Magdalene, as Irish women, with the laundries and everything, it was like, there was a reason why we were told to be quiet and don't be seen, because you didn't want to end up like pregnant and in a laundry. And I think it lived in our mothers and our grandmothers' consciousness. Like, they knew that was going on, and everyone lived with that fear of getting pregnant and shaming the family. So I'm going to stop there because I feel like I could keep going. So I want you just to get me back on track.
Oh no, I love everything. It's not, you didn't go off track at all. I loved everything you said, and I just think you've got a world of knowledge of all of this like historical stuff that I have not gone down like. And even I didn't even know that they had cleared her name in 2016. That just goes to show, like, I'm just like, when I hear sometimes, and I shouldn't shy away from it, it's something that I'm like, oh, I should be more open to what it is. So I loved hearing all of that, because it's like, I think sometimes when I'm listening, I'm getting too triggered when they're talking about it, and I'm like, no, Cheryl, that's unintegrated. Like, they you should be more solidified within this. And so I love hearing about it all. Can you speak to more of what called you to delve deeper into these teachings, delve deeper into Mary Magdalene? Like, I know she's been a big teacher for you, so it's like, what called you to that, or how did she call to you?
How did she come in? Through my book writing process, actually. And she was always there. She was always there. But it was through, I've been writing my book for the last 4 years, 3 years, 3.5 years. And I wrote, it's 3.5 years, because the first book that I wrote was like I turned the tap on and this book came out, but it's not the book that's getting published. It was as if I had to purge all of this cultural conditioning, like everything that we've spoken about, in order to get to the clear water, in order to get to my truth. And in this process of clearing these channels and clearing myself, what had come up, it was all about the laundries, and it was all about the suppression, and it was about intergenerational alcoholism. It was about sexual abuse in Ireland. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to trigger anyone, but it was all of these things. It was the Catholic Church and all the scandal around what was happening in children. It was the Tomb mother and baby home when they found those 500 bodies in the tank at the convent. It was like, even when I say that, I like it, it makes me so emotional when I think about it, because through the process of bringing forth all of this, I was making sense of how I got here and where I was going next and why I had to go home and why I will go home. We are planning to relocate back to Ireland in the next 2 or 3 years. And this homecoming of bringing forth this truth. And in meditation, about 18 months ago, she came to me in a meditation and she said, "Not in my name, not in my name." Now, I knew exactly what she meant. Do you get a hint?
No.
You know, like the abuse of what was done to women
No, yeah.
in her name that defiled her name.
Yeah.
And she was used as Mary Magdalene was used as wrongly as this penitent prostitute as a way to lock up women and to abuse their children. And she was used as if we're doing it for them. We're doing it for them, you know? And it was all done in her name. And this is why I feel like people need to know the truth, because even at home people still, even though she, like I said, 2016, her name was cleared. She was called the apostle to the apostles. She was called the first apostle, the witness to the resurrection. Also, she funded the whole mission, right? So the apostles, the other thing is that Mary Magdalene was actually a wealthy woman, and that's in the Bible. They don't talk about that either, that it's quoted in John, from her own resources.
Wow.
She provided for the mission. Let's think about that for a second. A wealthy woman who decides to walk with a group of men and this radical preacher, you know, to leave her family and to, you know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. This is what blows my mind. And of course, they couldn't have her truth revealed. They didn't want women having their own money, doing their own thing, supporting all the men, being the witness to, I mean, without the resurrection, we don't have Christianity. So, I mean, it's essentially like, it's so fundamental to me that, I mean, I can't even put words to it. I can't even, it's still, I'm at a loss for words, because the whole of Christianity was on this bedrock of the voice of a woman, that it was her. And
so deep.
It's so deep. And you can and this is what's magic about her gospels, is that it goes through these layers, and as we excavate her words and her teachings, it's like bing, bing, bing. It's like a tunnel that begins to start, the lights just start to go on. And parts of ourselves, and what I have said is that in the reclamation of the truth of Mary Magdalene, we're actually reclaiming ourselves, because we cannot escape what Christianity has done to the Western world over the last 2,000 years. We cannot escape what Christianity is doing to women in the name of Jesus, even to this day, and how it's being used as a control, right? So we cannot escape it, but what we can do is get to the truth. What we can do is find these amazingly important women in the earliest days of the, you know, post-crucifixion, when they were like, okay, right, we've got all these spiritual teachings. He's dead, but he's resurrected, he's coming back, but we got to get out there and we've got to do these teachings. And we got to start to teach. Like, we're just, you know, they were spiritual teachers at a time that was so dangerous. They were just meeting and feeding each other and being kind to each other. Which was radical at a time during Roman occupation, when people were brutalized by Roman occupation. So kindness was like a revolutionary act.
Wow.
Being kind to each other. So just that teaching of love and feeding each other and, you know, caring for each other and teaching faith, it was is so powerful. So it's Mary Magdalene is the divine feminine aspect of the Christ. And like I said, through the reclamation of the truth of who she really is, I found myself.
Wow.
I found myself. And then I was like, oh, I'm allowed to be seen and heard, because I know the truth of who she was. And how she walked and how she funded and how she was the backbone So I love how he chose her to be the witness. Like, it's like, of
Yeah.
course he chose her. Of course. Because he knew that if he didn't, it would, like, the erasure would have been total. Erasure would have been total. So I could talk about this all day.
I
All day.
literally am getting so much chills as you speak. Like I cannot, like you just so like hitting home here. And I'm excited for everyone that's going to experience the magic of the retreat. But something that was coming through there as well, and it could be slightly off topic, was this just the, do you find some people that work with you hold this, that they're almost holding back from fully expressing themselves because they're almost worried that, well, my mother or my father raised me in this way, like this shame, this guilt, but also the duality of holding some resentment towards their parents in that they weren't allowed fully express themselves.
I mean, there's a couple of ways I could answer that, but I feel like in service of everyone, the most powerful way I can answer this is that we chose our parents, and we were given to our parents to, for them not just to bring us forward, but we could bring them forward and we could rebirth them. You know, I've always said I didn't give birth to my kids, they gave birth to me.
Wow.
You know, they teach me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm there already. I've always said they came taught by God. They know who they are and what they need to do. It's my job just to shepherd them. And even my 7-year-old the other day said to me, out of nowhere, he said to me, Mum, you know, you're not really my mum. You're not really, Dad's not really my dad. He said, I belong to God, right? So he has this knowing, right? He has this essential knowing of who he belongs to, that he's a child of God, a child of the One, a child of the Most High. And he came through us, and we're here to just, you know, guide him. And if we can all get to the point of truly awakening to the fact that we're here to liberate ourselves and in turn liberate those around us, whether they know it's happening, whether they like it or not, it's, that is not, that's almost what I say, that's not yours to carry, because you have to, we all got to walk our own path. It kind of goes back to what we started this with, a purpose. Like we all have to walk ourselves home, and we all are walking ourselves home. We're walking our parents home. We're walking our family home to the One through our own awakening. So, I mean, I could give you the real practical answer of like, but you got to do it, but you got, no, I have to give you the essential answer that you're a child of the One, and so are your family, and so are your parents, and your path and following that unfolding of your own voice within you is here not just to teach you and rebirth you, but to rebirth them. And that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
That's why we have to follow God, follow the voice of your own heart,
Yeah.
because we have to. We have to. There's no other choice. We get sick, we get resentful, you know, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Should I stay? Should I conform? Should I sacrifice myself for people who don't understand? Because they truly don't. They truly don't. They truly cannot see your viewpoint or your purpose or your soul. Because, and even anyone listening to this as well, it's like, our family members may never get it. They may never get it. They may never fully get it. And that's fine. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, my family are come round now. They're like, oh yeah, Emma and Mary Magdalene, that's the thing. But I think they still think I'm talking about religion and stuff like that. I don't think they get the essential aspects of what I teach, but you know, they're tickled by it. They let me get off and do my own thing, and you know, but it's, yeah, that's how I can answer that question.
I love that answer, and it's so in fitting with a download I got the other day. You mentioned like walking each other home, and I was really like meditating on I don't know, I think it was trying to like integrate some darkness, not of my own darkness. Well, I suppose all of our darkness, just humanity, the darkness within humanity. And I got this download about like we need the darkness. The darkness is the polarity that's walking us home. We're all just walking each other home. So I love
Yeah,
that you said that. That's what we're doing. We're all ultimately anybody that's showing up in our reality, what we might be like bumping up against something that's appearing difficult, it's so that we can realize the truth of who we are.
yeah,
And as you were speaking and you were talking to Mary Magdalene, I was getting this real like solidification, this real center, like just this central channel of her energy, of her innate power within, this power that's not having to be the loudest, not having to like
yeah,
show up and shout and scream, just this like green ray energy, like blasting out, just the love that you were speaking out to, blasting out. How are you feeling? Like I'm almost like getting like I'm seeing like for your retreat like the green earth rumbling, like I'm seeing like almost like tectonic plates sliding, like a massive shift of vibration, a shake up for people, and then this massive awakening of this like coming back to the center, coming back to the divine feminine, of finding that innate power within. And that's obviously something that you like greatly embody. But is there anything that you could speak to anyone that's looking to embody that more, apart from go to the retreat? I mean, if I was in Ireland, or if I
I know
was
you'd be
able to,
there.
yeah, you know I'd be there. You know I'd be
I
there.
know. Um, it's yeah, it's interesting you say that. My feet don't even touch the ground when I'm over in that part of Ireland, and when I say that, it's like the vibrational frequency of the cliffs of Moher. I mean, all of that area is very sacred anyway. The Druids were using it. Then when the Christians came in, where it's right beside St. Bridget's Holy Well. We're going to sacred sites in the Burren as well that were used by some of the ascetics from who came from Egypt to Ireland as well in the Burren, and they used to use this place for meditation and for like pilgrimages. What do you call it when they go? It'll come to me. Like it's like monastic style living when they would just be, out in the
Oh,
worok,
yeah, I think I know the name,
out
but it's not
like
coming to
far
me.
from
Yeah,
civilization
yeah.
as a way to connect. So it's an overwhelming sense of coming home. I mean, I actually just sent out an email I literally sent it out 2-3 hours ago, speaking to this exact energy about the retreat. Is that she called me and she asked me to do the retreat. I had no idea. It's just the 4th to the 9th, like 111 is when I'm it's when I'm leaving. This is no joke. And I'm coming back on 10-1-1, like the 10th of November, 10-10-11. Anyway, it's wild. And but it is about bringing the truth of who she was first in vibrational being. And it speaks to exactly what you're saying, is that we have to bring it first within ourselves. This isn't anything that I'm doing. Yes, I've had to, meet parts of myself. Terrifying organizing a retreat. It's like 2 weddings all in one with the amount of financially, spiritually, emotionally, like all of it. It's such a massive undertaking. And yet she's carried me, and yet she's brought the people, and yet there's someone coming from Tasmania who's taking 4 flights to get to the
Wow.
retreat. And when Mary Magdalene calls, you're done,
Yeah.
because you can only follow. You can only follow. And what I said today is that this isn't a retreat, it's a homecoming, right home to the center of your own heart. And that is it. Because when you come home to the center of your own heart, the whole world then begins to rearrange itself
Mm.
around you. And that's it. This is this whole piece as well of walking in faith and allowing God's source of one to carry you. This is nothing we have to do. There's nothing we can do, but we can walk in this faith and bringing people into this truly, this real vibrational connection to Mary Magdalene and to her essential nature. Um, that's the awakening. That's the awakening. It's the death and the rebirth, because to live is to die, but to die while you're awake, that's awakening, because
Mm.
death can't hold us. This is what we know. Death can't hold us. So there's still a few more spots for the retreat. You know what I'm most excited about? I'm most excited about the last minute women who come in. They're like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm getting
Yeah.
there, because that's me. There's like 13 more days, and I know that there's like 4 more spots left. And I know that Mary Magdalene's going to bring those 4 women, But it's the lastminute.com women. They're my people, because that's me. They're like, okay, fine, I'm booking the flight. I'm doing it. Emma, send me the link. I'm coming. I'm doing it. So
Oh,
that's who I'm here for right now. I'm here for the excitement of those women who are ready to move, and they're ready to just experience this magic of the west of Ireland. And this retreat centre is chef's kiss. I mean, food, luxury, magic.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that it's going to be absolutely transformational. And I'm just mindful of your time. Also, is there and for anyone watching, like if I was in Ireland, I'd be at that retreat, but I'm not saying that in some way to say don't get on a flight. The retreat I was just on, most people, I think I was the only one that was like in Bali, and everybody else traveled for that retreat. So
Yeah.
I know that you're women, like I'm just like, if you're watching this now and you're feeling like that your heart is pulling you towards the retreat, like go for it, trust, because that part of I've done this before, got so attached to the outcome of something, like wanting to get something out of something when life pulled me towards it.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't overthink it. Like, don't overthink it. Go with it, and the transformation is going to come for you, because
Yeah.
it has to. It has to.
It's there is too many miracles happening with this retreat for it not to. I couldn't even go into them now of how the pieces of all of this have come together. It's you couldn't even there it doesn't, the maths don't math unless you have the God factor and the Mary Magdalene factor, because none of it makes sense that it has this divine unfolding of the retreat. So
I'm
that's
I'm so excited for you, and I'm so excited for the beautiful souls that are going to partake in it. You mentioned your book earlier. Is there anything you want to speak to on your
oh
book as well? I'd love to know what
Oh
it's
no,
about.
just make sure you follow my Substack. That's if you go
Your
to my
Substack.
Instagram bio, the link for the retreat, and follow me on Substack, because I'm going to be moving all my writing over to Substack.
Amazing.
And so that's the best place. That's going to be the best place to hear all the details and stay in touch with me.
Okay, perfect. And if you caught the replay, let us know that you caught the replay. Let us know if you've
Send
any
me
questions.
a DM. I love a DM. I love
Emma
questions.
does love a DM.
Don't I? People always think, oh, it must be someone else who replies. I'm like, no, it's me. No. I'm going to send you a voice note. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful conversation. I've no doubt it's going to activate something within people. It's activated so much within me as well. So thank you for joining me. And anybody that's on the fence, just go book the retreat. It'll be stunning. And Emma, I hope you're running more of them so that I'll be going to the next one.
There'll be more. There'll be more.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? This is just the beginning.
Just the start. Just the start. I freaking love it. Okay. Thank you so much.
So much love to you. Bye, love.
Bye.
Speak to you soon. Bye, everyone.